Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Thursday, June 17th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off with an update from the nation's leading infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci. He says that the U.S. will spend $3.2 billion for antiviral pills for COVID-19 and also for other illnesses. He says that this new program will invest in accelerating things that are already in progress for COVID-19, but also treatments for those other viruses. And the pills, which could be used to minimize symptoms after infection, are in development and could be available by the end of this year. The U.S. has approved one antiviral drug against COVID-19 so far. That's remdesivir, and has allowed emergency use of 3 antibody combinations that help the immune system fight COVID-19. But all of these drugs have to be given by IV at a hospital or a medical clinic. So that has made a bit of a hurdle for people having access to these things. Now, health experts are increasingly calling for a convenient pill that people could take when symptoms first appear. Now, some drug makers are testing these kinds of medications, but initial results are not expected for several more months. The new funds will speed up those tests and support private sector research, development, and manufacturing to reach that potential availability date of the end of this year. Here in Ohio today, Governor Mike DeWine announced that he will lift the COVID-19 state of emergency on Friday. Now, this was put in place in March of 2020 when the very first cases of COVID-19 surfaced here in Ohio. Now, it may not seem like it necessarily makes an impact at this point with the health orders lifted, but this is sort of the last piece of the puzzle to lifting the situation here in Ohio. Today, Governor DeWine said that there is still a warning, though, for people who are not vaccinated. Here's what he said. Here's a quote from him. "We still are losing people every single day to COVID. There really is a dichotomy that it's really a fundamental difference between your safety if you're vaccinated and your safety if you're not vaccinated. On one hand, you're safe. On the other hand, you're not. We have variants coming into the state. Things will continue to change." Continuing this quote from Governor DeWine, "We'll have some more figures next week, but we continue to lose people who are dying every single day in Ohio because of COVID. A lot less than what it was. Hospitalizations are down, cases are down, positivity numbers are down. So we've certainly headed in the right direction, but that is being driven by the people who are vaccinated. The people who are not vaccinated still run a very, very significant risk." Governor DeWine said Ohio is losing 10 people each day to COVID-19. Here in Northeast Ohio, Case Western Reserve professor Ayesha Bell Hardaway has been forced to resign from Cleveland's police monitoring team. Bell Hardaway is the director of the Social Justice Law Center at Case Western Reserve. She's resigned as deputy monitor of the Cleveland Police Monitoring Team. She claims that her objectivity was questioned as a member of the task force. Now, the Cleveland Police Monitoring Team was put together in 2015. This was after a consent decree was agreed upon by the U.S. Department of Justice and the Cleveland Division of Police. This was after a 2014 investigation that found Cleveland police officials had violated the U.S. Constitution and federal law while engaging in certain police practices. So what we do know now about Bell Hardaway's resignation is based on her letter obtained by 3 News. And in that letter, she said that Cleveland Police Monitoring Team Monitor Hassan Aden threatened to remove her from her role as deputy monitor. This is based on an interview that she gave Cleveland's NPR affiliate following the verdict in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. Bell Hardaway says that her responses in that interview reflect, quote, capsulized information about American policing that is well supported in existing literature and not bias. She went on to say this, a quote from Bell Hardaway. "I recognize that it is a tall order for some to accept the reality that violence exists in American policing and that systemic change is needed in order to address the long-standing and disproportionate impact that excessive use of force by police has had on Black people." She went on to say, "However, the work of police reform is rooted in some of these hard truths." She also went on to say that the response to her answers in that NPR interview, quote, reaffirm why reform and systemic change remain critically necessary, stating that the conversation on police reform being a topic of contention is, quote, surprising. Now, the former deputy monitor says in the letter that she was given only 2 options following that interview, either restrict her role to only community-related matters or remove herself from the team entirely. So Bell Hardaway said, as difficult as it was to walk away from work that means so much to her, The ultimatum left her with no other option. Now, if you have seen a viral image going around the internet claiming that there will be a second inauguration for President Donald Trump and that you can buy tickets for $1,200 each for an event on August 15th, it's not real. That's not happening, and you cannot buy tickets. President Joe Biden decisively won the 2020 presidential election, and yet still online people are claiming that there will be a second inauguration, but the tickets are not real. He's not being inaugurated a second time as president, and there's no event for those tickets to be available for. This photo was manipulated from a stock image of tickets. Now, the image says that the headliners will be Kid Rock and Ted Nugent for this fictitious August 15th event. And if you need further proof of that, if you look at Ted Nugent's tour website, it originally said on August 15th that he would be performing in North Tonawanda, New York, but that tour has been moved to 2022. And Kid Rock's schedule online says he'll be at Mount Pleasant, Michigan's Soaring Eagle Casino on August 15th, which is not at a second inauguration that is not happening for former President Donald Trump. Here's where he will be, though. He will be here in Ohio on June 26th. He's having a rally in Wellington. His office announced that officially Saturday, June 26th. He'll be here with an event at the Lorain County Fairgrounds starting at 7 p.m. Those doors will open at 2 p.m. This event is to support Max Miller. This is who Trump has endorsed for Ohio's 16th congressional district against Republican incumbent Representative Anthony Gonzalez here in Rocky River. Gonzalez voted to impeach Trump on the charge of inciting an insurrection. Now this year, as the fair season rolls back around, new ride safety standards will be put into place because of Tyler's Law. This is a law that's been named for Tyler Jarrell. He died in 2017 after being thrown from a ride at the Ohio State Fair. So this law, named for him, requires improvements to the ride inspection process. It was signed into law November 6, 2019, went into effect exactly 1 year later, November 6, 2020, when fairs were not yet happening. So now we've come around to the first possible place where these can now be implemented. So this rules will establish a minimum number of times that a ride has to be inspected every year. Also require ride operators to provide documentation of those inspections, maintain that document for the entire life of the ride as long as it exists, and transfer it to any new owners, and also submit a list of all locations and dates where the ride was stored for more than 30 days or operated outside the state of Ohio. Let's take a look at some of the latest COVID-19 numbers. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. These are the global and the national numbers. Globally, we are now at 177,176,595 reported COVID-19 cases. Here in the U.S., we have 33,501,656 cases. That's 18.9% of all global cases. Globally, there have been 3,835,504 reported COVID-19 deaths. Here in the U.S., we have 15.7% of those deaths, with 600,705. We don't yet have updated numbers for today from the Ohio Department of Health. When we get those, we will place those on WKYC.com, so you'll be able to find those there. But yesterday, the fourth winners in the Ohio Vaccimillion drawing were announced, and those winners are Suzanne Ward of Findlay in Hancock County won $1 million before taxes, and Sean Horning of Cincinnati and Hamilton County won that full ride college scholarship for Ohioans between the ages of 12 and 17. Now, Ward screened Governor DeWine's call when it came through. She said that she didn't answer because she didn't know the number, so she didn't answer when he called twice, and it wasn't until she got a text from someone from his office and that the person from the office showed up at the door that she realized that she had won $1 million. And Sean, the winner of the college scholarship, just graduated from high school, and now he is going to start thinking about his college career. He said he hadn't made any decisions yet, but he's definitely going to look at some good schools now that he has this incredible opportunity. Switching gears to the sports world, the Tribe have placed Austin Hedges, catcher, on the 7-day injured list with a concussion. That's retroactive to yesterday. And they've also moved outfielder Jordan Luplow to the 60-day injured list with an ankle injury. Now, with Hedges on the injured list, they have called up catcher Ryan Lavarney from AAA Columbus. So he'll be in the lineup and bat sixth against the Orioles on Thursday. Earlier this week, the Tribe put the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner Shane Bieber on the 10-day injured list with a right shoulder strain. Manager Terry Francona says that he won't throw for the next 2 weeks and he will be reevaluated after that. Here's hoping for a speedy recovery for all of those guys on the Tribe injured list. Talking about football, Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski confirms that more than 51 Cleveland Browns players have received the COVID-19 vaccine. There are 90 guys on the roster. Now, Stefanski says he's not going to share the number. They're not at 100%, but he did confirm that report that 51 Browns had received the vaccine. This is from the NFL Network, where that report initially came out. He said they're going to continue to educate the players on how the vaccine can help themselves and their families and the fact that it's a competitive advantage. They want to make sure they've got all the information, but they're not going to get into the specifics of who is vaccinated and who is not. Now, having a COVID-19 vaccine is definitely a competitive advantage because on Wednesday, the NFL and its Players Association released new guidelines regarding what vaccinated and unvaccinated players will be able to do in the upcoming 2021 season. Of particular note, vaccinated players will not have to quarantine following high-risk exposure to COVID-19, which could make a big difference when it comes to who can play in important games. And yesterday, we talked about what you can do to help out cats here in the Northeast Ohio area. Well, here's what you can do to help out dogs in the Northeast Ohio area. Adoption fees at the Cleveland City Kennel are reduced this weekend. So the fee to adopt a dog from the City Kennel will be $21 on Saturday and $21 on Sunday. Now, if you're interested in this, you need to schedule a meeting to find what might be your perfect little furry friend. We have the link on WKYC.com to do that. You can schedule an appointment. If you want to see all the adoptable dogs that are available at the Cleveland City Kennel, we also have a link where you can peruse them and see who you might want to set up a meeting to meet with. Cleveland Animal Care and Control, which is also known as City Dogs, will have the normal adoption process in place that weekend. So yes, this does mean this weekend, if you want to take advantage of those lower fees, you do still have to make an appointment to meet with the dog that could potentially be its forever home with you. That is it for your 3 News Now update today for Thursday, June 17th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment, and I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.